So who am I speaking with?
Hi, I'm Dave Thomas, or David B. Thomas on Twitter. I'm the Director of Community and Social Strategy for Radian 6.
And you guys pretty much own the space of social media monitoring, or at least the mind space of it. That you've got I think well over 1,000 competitors. But when people think social media monitoring, they think you. So what I want to know is, you say you got 7 steps to prepare or to essentially do ROI measurement, correct?
Yeah, I think it's important that you get ready. When measuring ROI is a huge question, and if you don't go into it prepared, you're not going to be able to get the information that you want. So these are 7 steps that I think will help you get ready for doing that.
Okay, step 1.
Step 1, establish your goals in advance.
That's pretty darn important. Like, people just like, let's just go measure it.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't know where you want to go, you're not going to get there, just like in life. No. Number 2, you need to tie your goals to your existing business objectives. It's much easier to convince your senior executives of the necessity for doing this if you're talking about not increasing your number of Twitter followers, but increasing leads, driving traffic to your website, increasing sales.
Yes, people talk about like getting video views. I have many videos that have hundreds of thousands of views, but they've done nothing for my business as compared to some that only have a few hundred views.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all a matter of what you're trying to accomplish. Number 3 is you need to understand that every department in your company is going to have a different definition of ROI. ROI is going to mean leads to your marketing team. It's going to mean to your sales team. It's going to mean are you giving them information? Are you giving them data to help them close sales? Your customer satisfaction is one measure of ROI. Employee satisfaction is another ROI measure, and you have to know that they're all going to be different.
Okay, good point. So now we're on to step 4. Yes.
Yes, step 4 is decide in advance how you will measure success. What metrics are going to be important to you, and what are you trying to drive? And that ties back to some of the particular points. But figure it out in advance. Is it number of leads? Is it increase in something? You have to know what numbers you're going to use and what metrics before you go into it.
Let me ask you about that, because I've heard that one a lot. I've never heard the back end story of it. Did you actually achieve it, and did you consider the success? Have you done this before, or worked with companies that have done this before?
I've worked with companies that are working toward that, and some companies that have achieved it. And again, it ties into some of the later points. It ties into to this point. You need to focus on campaigns. If you try to say what's the ROI of our social media activities, that's too large a question. That's like saying what's the our ROI of our marketing. You would have to break that down into individual chunks: advertising, PR, whatever it is. And in order to roll up to a larger number. If you break it down into campaigns, how many people can we get at our next conference or event? We want to increase participation at this conference by 20%, then that's a manageable chunk and a campaign that can be tracked.
All right, that's actually a really good answer to that question.
And you need to make them trackable through your web analytics. If, for instance, we go along with that example, we want to get more people to attend our next conference, 20% increase in attendance.
Using the example of trying to get more attendees at your trade show, how would you measure that through web analytics?
So create a landing page where you want people to go to register for the event. Create a short URL using a service like Bitly or another service to shorten the link to that landing page, and create one for Twitter, one for LinkedIn, and one for Facebook. And then use those short URLs to drive people to that landing page to register. Then you'll be able to look at your web analytics and see how many people came to that website from Twitter, how many people from Facebook, how many people from LinkedIn, and then you can see the direct impact on how many people registered for your event because of your efforts in those channels.
Excellent. Okay, are we to the very last point?
Yes. The final point. The final point is you have to understand that in the end, ROI is a formula, and in order to calculate it, you need all the data. And I've seen it written a number of different ways, but gain minus cost divided by cost is your formula. Back to the trade show example. You see that you got 300 people to register for your event from your Twitter campaign. How much time did you spend creating that Twitter campaign because your time is worth money. How much did you spend any money on it? Did you pay for any advertising? Did you do anything else? If you can figure out the total value of the time that you put into it and the total value of how many of the increased number of attendees, then you can plug those numbers into the formula and you can get to a bottom line dollar figure number. For a lot of companies, a lot of people, depending on what the activity is, you may not need to take it all the way to that step of the bottom line number. It may be enough to say, we increased attendance by 20%. If that's good enough for your boss, if that's good enough for the people who you need to influence, then that's good enough.
Excellent. David, thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure. It's good to see you.